When it comes to war content, people tend to post their best. And recently, Houthi rebels from Yemen have posted what they consider their best win ever. And this is them seizing an unarmed civilian cargo ship. Let's take a look, and we're going to break down just what they're getting right and more likely what they're getting wrong. I'm Paul, a U.S. Army combat veteran who served in Afghanistan. I'm going to bring you the best war analysis that I can of the Houthi rebels seizing the cargo ship Galaxy Leader. Let's get into it. Okay, so this is, of course, coming to us from these Houthi rebels who've, frankly, done a pretty good job of editing. I don't wonder who their editor is. You can see they're filming here from the back of what looks like maybe an MI-8, a Soviet-era helicopter, approaching this ship and actually landing on the deck, which is pretty impressive. You can see no one on the deck here is meeting them because, again, this is a civilian cargo ship. But right away, we can catch a couple of details that I think are just brilliant. Okay, the first is they appear to have a tactical vest, but you can see from the way this sort of fits snugly against his torso that there's no plate in here. This offers no ballistic protection of any kind. And if you've been following the Russia-Ukraine conflict, you know that on even Russia, who's been struggling pretty immensely to equip its largely conscript army, still manages to put all those guys in the field with actual body armor. So these guys, the best of the best in this small operation. And remember, these helicopters cost thousands of dollars an hour to fly. So, they could have at least spared $200 to get this dude some real ballistic plates. But that's not even the peak of cringe. No, the cringiest part is the fact that this dude has a sack. They could not give their elite commandos a real backpack. Instead, they have the thing that rave girls take to raves in order to sneak in water bottles full of vodka, right? This dude is here to party, but it still used camouflage fabric. That's the best part of all this. So whoever they bought this Molly vest from, they should ask if they have some sort of discount offer on backpacks, because use it, dude. Use a real military backpack. What are you going to fit in here? Like, these guys are just hoping that when they land on this ship, and remember, if they're planning on taking the ship hostage, they're going to be there for days. So they better hope that they know where to find the water and food on this ship. Otherwise, they're going to be in trouble. So they get out. Notice this dude also has, of course, the Raver backpack and another backpack. This I give more credence to because maybe he's a saw gunner and this is spare ammunition, right? Okay, so here, we'll look at this. One, these guys are all facing their weapons in the same direction, which is actually fine on a boat, right? And they're moving in a formation, which is also good. And it looks like these guys kind of secured this area, but bear in mind, they're kind of flagging each other. These guys are running very dangerously close to their friends who have their weapons pointed in this direction. And here's the thing. Yes, they've approached from the rear, but as you guys can see, there's some access points, right? In theory, a person could be hiding back here. And if you have your entire formation with guns forward, why do these guys need to be here pointing not just their guns forward, but their guns actually at their friendly forces? Do you see the problem that this has already incurred, right? These guys should at least lower their weapons when their battle buddies are right in front of their barrels. Now, I paused this at the most brilliant moment. Notice where this soldier's barrel is pointing. You may realize it's actually pointing at his friend. Yes, that's right. Despite there being no resistance of any kind, this guy's weapon up is up. Literally, there are only two weapons in this entire shot, and one of them is pointed at his friend, right? Oh, and I missed the other peak cringe. You see this yellow thing? This appears to be a knife. You may notice that in Ukraine, right, where there's been a lot more fighting, they don't do a lot of knives. When they do, they're usually right here, and they're meant to help cut away, for example, the clothes on yours or a wounded buddy's uniform, help cut away entanglements, maybe to cut away tripwires. I'm not opposed to having a knife. What I'm opposed to is watch this individual run, but pay attention to the knife. Look at it. It's falling off of his uniform. It's dangling and wiggling. Has this guy ever been in combat? right? Flags his buddy. You can see points his weapon directly at the hostages. This is, again, something of a problem. Okay, I'll give credit where credit's due. That's real trigger discipline. But pointing your weapon at the hostages is not a great call. The reason is because if you shoot them, they're not hostages, they're just casualties. Right? So here are these individuals. Right? You notice YouTube loves to demonetize me. No one gets hurt here. No one in this video gets hurt. No one. Okay? And I'm not going to show any violence at all. Right? So don't demonetize me, please. If you are interested in getting my non-demonetized content, right, where I have my own site where I view all the viral combat footage that YouTube won't let me do analysis of. And it's called combatvetnews.com. It's the #1 way to support what I do as an independent analyst in all of these conflicts. So if you are interested and value my insight and want to support me, because you can imagine sponsors won't touch me with a 10-foot pole given the type of content I make, any one of these tiers is going to get you access to twice weekly. We do the most viral combat footage from around the world, zero censorship, and we do deep dive analysis. We find the units, we find the locations, we find the tactics, everything that really gives us insight. So check us out, combatvetnews.com. Okay, so you can see this guy here, right? They're taking the hostage. The hostages are clearly following their directions. And there is the ship itself, a large cargo vessel. Now, there's some other interesting shots. You can see these guys begin to clear the ship. Okay, this looks like good communication. This looks less so. Why is this weapon pointed at the ceiling? You may notice that the ceiling appears to be metal. And here's the problem. When you fire a weapon at metal, it creates fragmentation. And that fragmentation oftentimes goes back the way it came, which would be into this guy. Not always, but often. Also, every one of these guys, drawstring backpacks, I don't understand. Right, he's got mics. This is an ICOM, a basic unencrypted radio. That's a fine tactic. Also, this dude has no body armor. It's like they can't decide. Also, if you've ever worn knee and elbow pads without a regular uniform underneath it, you know that these things chafe unbelievably. Right, so I think these guys watched like maybe Call of Duty, like maybe they're modeling their own Call of Duty characters or something, because if you've ever actually done this, you know this is unbelievably uncomfortable. You can see them here, right? This looks like maybe an engine room or a fuel area. Safety first, no smoking, no smoking. Interesting that it's all in English. This is supposedly an Israeli flagged ship, but it was like on its way to India. This is also a classic amateur move. The ship that a ship is flagged under is not the nationality of the crew and does not reflect the origin or the destination or even the owner. You often flag ships in areas where it basically just gives you the best tax advantages and some regulatory advantages. And Israel, probably for the type of cargo they were moving, Israel offered a whole bunch of tax and regulatory advantages. And they said, okay, we'll be an Israeli ship today. The captain could be American, could be Filipino, the crew could be Thai, the ship itself could be en route from any random country, right? But they don't care if it flies an Israeli flag. They decided they're going to go after it. Certainly, it's an easy target, right? And there they go, flying the Palestinian flag, which, bear in mind, you may recall, these guys are Yemeni. They're from Yemen. So looks like they actually have some support boats here. Probably this advanced team was going to seize the ship and then lower some rungs to get these other teams onto the ship in order to create some redundancy. That actually is the most tactically logical thing for them to do. And it makes sense. They landed, they went straight for the bridge. They're like, yay, we seized this for Palestine, which doesn't make any sense. All right, there's some footage I can't show because it is actual combat from Israel Hamas, right? Additional news updates. But anyway, guys, I hope you guys got a sense of the difference between cosplaying and real trained soldiers. And it's just a reminder that there's levels to this game. And, you know, right? You've got professional militaries like Ukraine, like Israel. You have conscript militaries that are properly trained, like Ukraine, to a lesser extent Russia. But then you have the amateurs, then you have the yahoos. And if you wanted to see jabronis in action, you got to. Hit like and subscribe. Thanks so much. And a big thank you to the members of combatvetnews.com. I couldn't do this without all you guys. I appreciate you so much, and I'll catch all you guys in the next one. Cheers.